Investigation is underway after somebody stole 3 Flock license plate reader cameras.
The Flock cameras vandalized with paint.
We're concerned about the attack on safety cameras.
They want them reactivated in order to help police catch criminals here in the East Bay.
They are absolute Fourth Amendment violation machines that track everywhere you go.
Listen, I know that I'm being creepy right now. Just saying these words out loud nauseates me.
No new contract! Police departments across the country are expanding the use of automatic license plate readers. They say these cameras help investigators solve crime faster, but critics argue the technology crosses a constitutional line. A recent case at the Supreme Court could strengthen calls for tighter regulations. The Fourth Amendment protects Americans against unreasonable searches and seizures. Chad Marlow is a senior policy counsel with the ACLU. He argues that automatic license plate reader cameras, or ALPRs, threaten our constitutional protections. These cameras create a searchable record of where vehicles go, and that data can be used to track people over long periods of time. Marlow says that kind of surveillance crosses the line.
And that seems really antithetical to American concepts of privacy, which is that we are all generally entitled to be left alone by the government unless they specifically suspect us of doing something wrong. And here, it's just the opposite.
Recently, Fourth Amendment violations made headlines with a Supreme Court case, Chaudhry versus the United States. The court found that police accessing large amounts of cell phone location data from private companies can trigger Fourth Amendment protections, meaning warrants may be required in many cases. This decision has now opened the door for advocates to pursue further legal action against law enforcement for using other types of tracking technology. While the case involves cell phone location data, not automatic license plate readers, Marlow explains the logic from the ruling applies directly to ALPRs and is also drawing bipartisan attention.
A libertarian, or say a MAGA Republican, or traditional Republican, or a liberal or a leftist, no matter where you are, everyone seems to have a reason for being really uncomfortable with mass government surveillance.
Flock Safety is the nation's largest provider of ALPR cameras. Josh Thomas, Flock Safety's chief communications officer, says he understands why some people have concerns about the technology.
Yeah, there are some valid concerns. I think the concerns are around what you asked about. How long does the data exist? Who has access to it? What type of data even is it? Let's regulate all that.
But Thomas argues the benefits outweigh the criticisms and says the cameras are a valuable tool for law enforcement.
Our technology is the first tool that law enforcement call upon when there's a critical incident.
Thomas says Flock cameras are one of the key tools used to investigate the assassination of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk.
Our team was rapid response on the ground at the Utah Valley University in 8 hours, and we coordinated with Utah DPS to help establish a timeline with our license plate reading technology.
Thomas points to several high-profile cases, saying Flock technology helped investigators identify the suspect in the Brown University shooting and has aided law enforcement in locating human trafficking victims and missing children. However, Marlow raises concerns about potential bias, pointing out that the data Flock Safety cites was gathered in collaboration with the company.
Flock's CEO just the other day said that they solved 1 million crimes in the last year. But, first of all, very round number.
While some of Flock Safety's headline statistics come from the company's own impact census, other figures are based on data reported directly by law enforcement agencies. The decline in violent crime following San Francisco's deployment of Flock cameras was documented by the local police department.
They, 3 years ago, started using Flock Safety technology, and their violent crime rates have dropped dramatically. And if you talk to the chief of police, Mayor Lurie, what would they tell you? Their investment in technology has helped turn that city around.
Thomas argues that the greatest deterrent to crime is the belief that if someone breaks the law, they will be caught. He says that like with any tool, Flock cameras have the potential to be used improperly, but claims it's a mistake to blame the technology itself.
We don't get rid of vehicles because there are people who will commit a hit and run. What we do is we regulate it, and then we hold people accountable.
The company is committed to transparency, he says, and highlights the safeguards and policies it's put in place.
There's no law that required us to be as transparent as we have been, but we just felt like it's an important way to build trust with communities.
He also credits the system's audit trail as a vital tool to identify law enforcement members who have abused this technology.
Everything they do in Flock is logged. There's an audit log that's available for public accountability.
Critics express concerns about the government using the cameras for purposes such as immigration enforcement. But Thomas says the company allows local authorities to decide how the cameras can be used based on their community's values and priorities.
There's a drop-down menu. You have to put in the reason you're using our tool every time. And that is available, again, for a public audit, that city council members can hold law enforcement accountable if they're not using it appropriately.
But with all these safeguards in place, Marlow describes things can still go very wrong.
It's not really a question of whether or not ALPRs can be used to solve crime, but instead, what rights do we have to give up to get there? And tracking where all of us travel for a month or more, I think is a bridge too far.
YouTuber Ben Jordan and other researchers found that dozens of flock condor cameras were streaming live and archive footage openly on the internet with no protection.
None of the data or video footage was encrypted. There was no username or password required.
The security flaw exposed live and archive surveillance footage to unauthorized viewers until it was fixed by Flock. But some of that footage still remains online. Jordan shows just how detailed and revealing data captured by these cameras can be.
I could watch a man rollerblade and then take a break to watch rollerblading videos on his phone. How? Because the camera's AI automatically zoomed in on it.
Jordan also warns that when combined with other publicly available tools and information, the footage allowed complete strangers to learn an alarming amount about someone's life.
I saw a family in North Carolina load their infant and a bunch of merchandise in a Lowe's parking lot, and I suppose one could cross-reference their license plate with the Park Mobile data breach and find out exactly where the garage is that will store these new fancy tools.
And even more disturbing, Jordan shows the amount of access strangers had to children.
Here's an exposed flock safety camera permanently pointed at a playground near the Bay Area in California.
Marlow argues the issue isn't that data is captured, but that it can be stored for up to 30 days, or even longer if it's part of a criminal investigation, allowing those with access to identify patterns and potentially predict people's behavior.
I don't need a warrant. I don't need a reason. I can start with all of this tracking data and just watch everywhere they go to see if I can come up with either something that they've done wrong or just an excuse to investigate them further is really problematic.
He cites concerns about individuals being tracked for attending gun shows, churches, and other activities people would rather keep private.
It's like, why would that be of value to the government?
Marlow points to a well-documented phenomenon which people alter their behavior when they know they're being watched.
We don't want Americans feeling like they need to act in their everyday lives all the time the way that you act with a police car directly behind you.
He says he's concerned about how this could impact society long-term.
They don't want to be spotted engaging in something that, even though it's legal, they may not want the world to know about. So it can have a chilling effect on other rights that go beyond privacy.
Marlow argues the company is potentially sugarcoating the privacy risks because it has a significant financial incentive to do so.
Since Flock is so driven by almost $1 billion in venture capitalist funding, they have to focus on keeping those funders happy above all else.
City council meetings and local court hearings on ALPRs are currently underway across the nation as debates continue over the use of this technology. Ultimately, the question is, what do Americans want to prioritize, privacy or public safety? In front of the Supreme Court, I'm Rowena Ortiz with Frontlines, Turning Point USA.